penalty and capital punishment. What is the definition, and how has history shaped current public opinion? The death penalty, also referred to as capital punishment, is the planned, legally sanctioned execution of a person by the federal or state government as direct punishment for a crime in which he or she committed. Today, capital punishment has been abolished in Canada as well as in most European, Pacific Rim, and Latin American countries. Yet the United States federal government and 36 U.S. states, as well as the majority of the Caribbean, Asia, and Africa, uphold and strongly support the use of capital punishment. For the U.S., a highly sophisticated Western civilization, continued use of the death penalty is distinctive. Clearly, capital punishment is a highly controversial subject, as heatedly argued by the supporters and abolitionists within the confines of the U.S. and certain international cultures. This issue carries particular importance for our society as we grapple with the reality of irrevocable extermination of a life by the government under the protection of the U.S. and state constitutions. Those who support the death penalty believe that society has a duty to protect the innocent through self-defense methods, including execution. Proponents of capital punishment defend their position on the grounds that the most heinous crimes and criminals deserve the ultimate punishment, death. Is there a middle ground? Is there commonality in the polarizing arguments of supporters and abolitionists? Although the current debate over the death penalty is one of widespread disagreement, controversy, and division, there is in fact a third option, a nationwide moratorium on the death penalty. Due to the wide chasm between opponents and proponents, as well as ambivalence of the public, I believe that the nationwide call for a moratorium on the death penalty to examine all sides and meet in the middle is best for all Americans, whether convicted or free. Why consider the third, less discussed option of a nationwide moratorium on the death penalty? Since the reinstatement of the death penalty by the U.S. Supreme Court, innocent men and women on death row and serving death row prison sentences have been commuted due to justice system failures or key evidence not previously presented to the courts. Oftentimes, the federal and state justice systems fail to identify and rectify errors made in capital punishment cases, ranging from failure to provide equitable due process to inconsistent application of punishment in premeditated murder cases. In fact, the federal and state judicial systems continue to indict and sentence protected classes of the mentally ill or retarded and juveniles to death row and the death penalty, thereby disregarding laws intended to temper and regulate capital punishment sentences. Of major concern is inept and incompetent legal representation. Based on limited financial means, a person on trial for premeditated murder may hire an attorney who is sorely unqualified for the rigors of a capital punishment case, or alternatively, assigned an unqualified attorney through the public assistance program required of each state. I urge federal and state executive and judicial governments to cease any and all executions until capital punishment laws, practices, and processes are examined, reviewed, and consistently applied in the federal system and 36 U.S. states which currently administer the death penalty. The application of punishment should be administered in a non-biased and qualitative manner that should be devoid of racial, geographic, and economic distinctions. After performing in-depth research this semester, it is my personal belief that a judicial system that imposes the ultimate punishment of death is duty-bound to flesh out any laws, practices, or processes that is inherently faulty. During that fleshing out period, the responsible action is a call for a nationwide moratorium on the death penalty, in which no executions will be performed. The images presented here represent three faces of the death penalty issue. The first, reality, as depicted by the electric chair. The second, duality and polarizing arguments by opponents and proponents, as depicted in the second visual image. The third image expresses the often overlooked third option, which in my opinion is a win-win solution for all sides, a nationwide call for a moratorium on the death penalty, with the fourth image representing all sides meeting in the middle.